My name is Angela.
My name is Nicole.
And welcome to the Ominous Stitch podcast. Hello, Stitchers.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Ominous Stitch podcast.
Woohoo.
I'm just looking at your water bottle. I love your sticker.
Yay!
That's so cute. She's got a Nessie sticker on her water bottle.
Representing.
It's so cute. I love it.
Yeah, I love Nessie. I love Nessie.
Well, we know. We've talked about Nessie.
I know. I could go more and more about
and
it.
Champ and Ellie
Yeah.
and who's another one?
But,
There's more.
Ogobogo.
Ogopogo. Yes. Ogopogo. That is not what we're talking about today.
No.
We are talking about something a little more magical.
A little bit more, yes, mysterious.
What do you wish for?
Oh.
We can talk about this later when we're talking about Djinns today. Woohoo! Or genies, same kind of thing.
Kind
Kind of.
I'll go into why.
We're going to go into the differences.
Yes, why that's a kind of a weird correlation. Sorry.
That's okay. Thinking of words.
Yeah.
Words. Hashtag
words.
because words.
I got to get my brain working now.
I have the power of editing. I can cut out some of that time, space. I do that. If we ever do a live, you guys will see how much editing I do because I can't think of words. And so there's a lot of like space.
Space. Time.
The final frontier.
But anyway, what's got you in stitches, Angela?
Okay. So I'm going to take you through a very recent event that I just had. So actually yesterday, I had to go to Costco because I purchased tires. So I needed to have them put new tires on my car, which they told me it was going to take about an hour and a half. They were very busy, even though I had an appointment.
Oh,
it took me about 20 minutes to check in to my appointment. Yes. And then I was there for an additional half hour after that. So all in all, I was there for, about 2.5 hours.
Boo.
About 2.5 hours. So I thought I would take you on a journey with me of my 2.5 hour trip to Costco.
Was Costco itself really busy? Because it's always busy.
It's always busy.
Hate that.
It's always busy. It doesn't matter what time.
That's true.
But so this is, I am antisocial. I'm very introverted. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want people to talk to me.
Okay.
So this is my life experience going to Costco where there's a million people at all times. Woo. So I thought I would be prepared and take my crochet bag with me.
That's good.
Yeah. Pro move number 1.
Yay.
Take your crochet bag so you don't have to look at people. You have something to keep you busy and occupied. It will make that time go faster.
Okay.
So that's what I did. So first of all, before I get to my crochet bag, let's talk about me waiting in line for that half hour or 20 minutes before I get checked in.
Okay.
So I'm waiting in line. There was an angry man in there who had been waiting there for 3 hours. So I understand his anger. He didn't have an appointment. He was a walk-in. So they kind of take the walk-ins when they can.
Sure. And
they were very, very busy. So, but he needed his car and he was there for 3 hours and he had a toddler with him. Okay.
Why would you do that?
The toddler was, because I'm sure he didn't think he was going to be there for 3 hours.
But if you're walking in and Costco's busy,
Yeah.
That's on him.
I don't know.
And you're bringing a toddler with you.
I don't know.
That's on him.
He was angry. The toddler was angry and tired. And so the toddler's screaming and we're in this tiny little shop. And so it's really loud and echoey. Mm-hmm. And he puts the kid down and the kid tries to run out the doors. Okay, so here's dilemma number 1 for antisocial me.
Oh, no.
Okay. I always got embarrassed and hated it when I would be out in public and whoever I was with would talk to other people and talk to kids. I'm like, no, this is an antisocial person. You don't want to talk to people. You don't want people you're with to talk to strangers. So it's like, nah, right? So you always put that veil up and I'm like, I don't want people talking to me. I don't want any human interaction. But the toddler is trying to escape.
Okay.
So me as a mom,
right?
Do I step in and help?
Like your motherly instincts,
right? Do I step in and help, which is going against my instincts of being like, nope, don't do anything, don't try to help, just stay out of it. So I did step in and help, and I was trying to help the little boy, and I was like, oh no, buddy, let's stay here. Do you want to look at pictures on my phone? Do you want to like see what else I have in my purse. I'm like trying to keep him entertained. I'm like, do you want to crochet? I don't know. So I'm trying to help. And the dad is angry and he doesn't say thank you or anything. I have no idea if he was happy that I was trying to help or if he was mad that I was trying to help. I don't know, but he dealt with the people and eventually snatched up a son and left. But I was like, okay, I think I helped. But that was like dilemma number one. So everything in my brain is like, don't do anything. And then I was like, but I gotta, because I'm a mom, you know, I can't let this little kid run around in a Costco parking lot. That's not going to be helpful.
You're trying to help. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so that was hurdle number one for me. Hurdle number two came after I was already checked in and I decided to go sit down in the food court area and I pulled out my crochet bag and I'm working on a project. So here I am sitting there crocheting and doing my thing. And then I look up and there's a crowd standing around me just watching me crochet.
You kidding me?
No.
I love it. They're like so intrigued.
I was like,
You go, I have a podcast.
No, because I'm antisocial. And I just kind of was like, hi. And so I smiled and they're like, you're so good at that. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And then this one man just starts launching into how his mom crocheted and I'm bringing back happy memories for him. And I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. I'm like, I have no idea what to say to you because I'm just trying to be invisible.
I'm here doing this thing by myself. Leave me alone.
I'm trying to be invisible. So eventually after I smiled enough at him and was like, yeah, oh, that's exciting. Yay. And, you know, whatever. Right. He went off to eat his hot dog. I threw all my stuff back in my crochet bag and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go in the store.
Leave me alone.
I know. So I'm in the store and I'm walking around Costco and, you know, picking up odds and ends and things that, you know, you need. You never need that much stuff at Costco. But,
unless you like are feeding a football team. Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm walking around and buying stuff. And then I run into some of my husband's coworkers or somebody that works for my husband and his father who retired from the firm and was a partner at the firm. So partner with my husband and then his son. Right. So I'm walking around. I don't notice them. They stop me and they're like, well, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, hi.
Random stranger. Oh, wait. Okay.
I'm like, okay, I'm running into my husband's, you know, like associates. And I'm like, okay.
Cool. Everything's cool. What do I say?
So that's another like awkward moment for me who is antisocial and don't want to talk to people.
That's fun.
So my trip to Costco, trying to avoid talking to any people, did not go as planned.
Not successful. Man.
But yeah. No.
I hate at Costco when you're shopping and people are on your heels and you're like, dude, just get off me, bro.
There was this person that I was like, are they going to attack me? Because every turn that I took, they were right behind me. And they insisted on walking right behind
you.
me
Yeah.
the whole time.
Was it
they
with
didn't
a cart?
No. This person did not have a cart. And I would like try to move a little bit and they would move to go right behind me. I was like, what
was it like a family or is it just a person?
Just a person.
That's spooky.
I was like, they're going to rob me.
I would turn around and just stare at them at that point. I know I'm antisocial, but I'd be like, why?
Back off.
Yeah. Give me my bubble.
There's no reason for you to be walking up and down the condiment aisle with me. Like, what are you doing?
That's creepy.
So eventually they left, but I was like, why? And I was purposefully just zigzagging through the aisles because I didn't have anything else to do. I'm just waiting for my car.
You're just hanging out.
And I was like, wow.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
I hate people.
Yeah. But we love you, Stitchers.
No, yeah, we love you too. No. You don't get me wrong. I feel you though. I definitely feel you when you're out trying to do something and you just want to avoid everybody.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to do your thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and the universe won't let you.
Yeah.
That's how I feel too.
It's so funny.
Good times.
Just like me trying to be my antisocial self, and it just didn't happen for me.
Didn't work yesterday. The universe had other plans for you.
So what has you in stitches, Nicole?
What's got me in stitches?
Yes, what has you in stitches?
So recently we went back up to Washington State.
Woo-woo.
And
Washington.
I have not seen Dave Matthews Band. And for all of you that don't know this, I am a huge Dave fan. And that's actually where my husband proposed to me.
At a Dave Matthews concert.
At a Dave Matthews concert. The Caravan was really cool with a bunch of different acts and like a 3-day concert, which was really cool. But they always play every year on Labor Day weekend at the Gorge at George in Washington.
Yes.
And so funny story, last year we were supposed to go to celebrate our 10-year, and my little one comes home with COVID the day before we were supposed to leave.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah, that sucked. And then we all got COVID. So this is our makeup trip, and it was really fun. I had a really good time. It was the best concert with the best set ever, and we just had so much fun. And everything was successful. My kids got to see my family. They were so happy. So it was a really fun trip. Summer in Washington is the best, by the way.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah.
It tricks people.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Washington's so awesome.
Because it's beautiful. It's so green.
Yes.
The weather is gorgeous.
It's great.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a big divide between the west side of the mountains in Washington State and the east side. Because the east
side's East side's desert.
Yeah, it's like hot. It's always like it's a lot warmer, but the west side is rainy and cold, right?
Yeah.
So that was the fun part was when we were coming back, we stopped in this little cute town. It's like this little German town called Leavenworth.
I tried to go to Leavenworth one time, but it was snowing, and so we didn't have tire chains.
Yeah, to get over the pass.
Yeah.
So it was gorgeous. It was actually, we thought it was going to be rainy. It was sunny, and we got a good time exploring Leavenworth for a few hours. And then what's funny was we got over the mountains, and sure enough, it was raining. It was like gray and rainy. So that's Washington in a nutshell for you. And it's gorgeous. You have to visit, but it is, warning, 10 months out of the year, gray and drizzly.
Yes.
So it can get pretty depressing.
Yeah. My younger sister, Becca. Hey, Becca.
Woo-hoo. Hey, Becca.
She used to live in Washington. She lived in Kirkland, home
Kirkland's,
of Costco.
Yes.
Of Costco.
Yeah.
It was so cute. She had this beautiful condo just right off of the water there.
Oh, that's a really gorgeous area.
It was so cute. I was like, oh, I love this. I want to live here. But she would get the seasonal depression disorder. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to take so much vitamin D. And I didn't know that at that time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, take your vitamin D if you live in Washington. Yeah.
My other sister, shout out to Heather. Woo! She lives there as well. So we have this whole Washington connection.
I love that.
She lives in a different part of the Seattle area. It's all part of the Seattle area.
Yeah. It's really spread out.
And she lives in the mountains, and it's so pretty.
Yay!
And I don't get to go visit as much as I want to, but I always I've been there in the winter. I've been there in the summer. I've loved it every time, but I haven't lived there full time. So I haven't experienced the whole even though I love the gray weather when it happens
because
here.
we don't get it here very often.
It's so nice.
Yes.
We had a couple days of it this past week, and I was like, yay.
Yeah.
And then, but we're back into the hundreds.
Yeah. For the weekend. Ugh. But then hopefully it gets back, because I'm really excited for spooky season, because that's around the corner.
Spooky season. Speaking of a trip to Costco.
Oh.
They had Christmas decorations out.
No.
Yes, they
Shut
did.
Up. No.
Yes, they did.
No. Costco,
yes.
You're evil.
I know.
That's not cool. Halloween hasn't even started yet.
We haven't even, as of recording this, we haven't even hit mid-September yet.
Yeah.
And Costco has Christmas decorations out.
That makes me so unhappy.
Your face right now.
Because Halloween's the best, and they always
skip Halloween.
Yeah, like they don't get a little bit.
I didn't see any costumes out anymore. They had none of that. They had candy.
Me?
They had some Halloween candy that you could still buy.
Dude, it's
but
not
as
even
far as fall
October.
decor, I didn't see any fall decor, any fall anything. I think I saw some doormats that were on sale for like $8. So yay, nice big doormats. I was like, oh, I should buy one of these. And I'm like, no, stop with the impulse buying.
That's what I would do if I were just sitting there. That's how bad it would be. But yeah, we're decorating for Halloween pretty soon here. And no, you cannot skip Halloween.
Yeah, we're probably going to be decorating this weekend.
Good.
I love fall decor. I love decorating for fall. I'm going to make a little fall crochet thing to hang on my wall over there. Yeah, good. My little mat.
Good. Awesome. But anyway, yeah, we're back, and now it's hot, so yay, in California. But this week's episode is so cool.
I can't wait to get to this week's episode. And I have the cutest, coolest little thing that it's not little.
No,
but,
it's not little.
I made for my son for his birthday. So happy birthday, son.
He hasn't seen it yet, right?
He has no idea.
Good.
Yeah, he has no idea. So let's get stitching so we can talk about it.
Yay.
Okay, Stitchers. So for this week's Stitch, I made a Tony Chopper hat.
It's so freaking cool, guys. If you don't, what's Tony Chopper?
So Tony Chopper is a character from the manga One Piece. And my kids are obsessed with One Piece. We just started watching
the Netflix.
Yes,
what do you
it's
think?
good.
You like it?
I'm enjoying it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fun. I'm watching it. And I'm just like, what? How does that happen? The kids are like, it's One Piece, and they just think it's hilarious. And
I love it.
They're talking all the way through it because they know
what's going on. So it's really based on the comics.
Yeah, and they're like, well, yes,
Okay.
but things are different. And they're like, oh, that's different. And that's so they're pointing out all the differences and stuff. But yeah, they're loving it and they're having so much fun. And then they're laughing at little inside jokes. And my husband and I are like, what?
That's
I
awesome.
have no idea what's going on. But it's been fun watching it with them. They love it. They're obsessed with it. And my son's favorite character is Tony Chopper, who is this like little
Tony
Chopper, deer-like character. I don't know. Tony doesn't show up in the One Piece on Netflix yet because they haven't gotten to that part of the story. But anyway, I decided for his birthday, because his birthday is coming up, I was going to make this hat and surprise him. So I found this hat. It is a purchased pattern, but it was $5. So I purchased it, I think, on Etsy.
Okay.
From hookedbykimmy.com. Hooked by Kimmy, KIMI.com. Hooked by Kimmy. And the instructions are really easy to follow. The hardest thing that I found about this was trying to get the right color yarn. Tony, there's controversy over what color Tony's hat is, because in the anime
it's like a red color, right?
In the anime it interprets itself as red, but it's also like it's a really light red, so it's kind of like a pink color.
Yeah.
So you can interpret it as pink or red.
Okay.
So I went with this wine color, burgundy color. So it's a bridge between the pink and the red for my hat. And
nice.
we'll take pictures and send it to you guys.
Of course.
But it was a really easy pattern. I did it in 2 days, and it was a really easy hat to make. And it's so fun and it's so soft. This is my first time working with it calls for Bernat blanket yarn. So it's really a nice thick yarn. I was using size like 9 and 10
thick.
hooks.
Yeah.
So really big hooks.
Nice.
And really thick yarn.
How long did it take you?
So it was like a day and a half. It was really fast.
Well, you're a fast crocheter.
Well, and it follows the amigurumi principle. So it's all single crochet. So, it's just
that's
really,
true.
It's really easy to work up.
Good.
And do the rows and stuff. You aren't doing any fancy kind of stitches.
Nice.
There are a couple of different stitches not different stitches, but different ways that you have to crochet together. Some things, like the antlers.
I was going to say the antlers look the most complicated, huh?
Yeah. The antlers are interesting because you make 2 tubes and then you stitch them together and then you stitch them on another tube.
Nice.
So it's really like 3 pieces that are sewn together.
Got it.
To make the antler.
That's so cool.
But that is the most complicated part. Is
it does look like it.
But anyway, it's so cool. I can't wait to give it to him. He's going to freak out.
Yeah, I can see that. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yay! Tony Chopper.
Yeah. Do you guys all watch One Piece? Let us know.
Yeah. If you,
I don't.
if you watch One Piece or know
read
One
about
Piece
it,
or read the manga, we bought them. They come in treasure chests, so you can buy a treasure chest that have. I think it's like a whole. Series of where they are in the world.
Oh,
so
fun.
They kind of come in like big chapter or big story arc things. So the first treasure box is volumes 1 through 23. So they're 23 volumes.
That's cool.
In each treasure box. We have 2 treasure boxes. They'll probably get the 3rd one for Christmas this year.
Oh.
Because the treasure boxes are not cheap.
No,
but
I was going to say, that's 23 volumes. That's a lot.
Yeah. So it's like $125 or something like that on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. But, it's still 23 volumes. Usually one of these books is like $10. So it's a good deal, but it's just like a big chunk of change.
All at once. Yeah, that's a good Christmas present.
And the first treasure box we bought, the kids just went through it like that so fast.
Good.
And we're like, oh my gosh, you guys, we thought this would at least take, the summer. We thought, we bought it for summer reading. We're like, it's going to take the summer. No. Like
kids
2-3
read
days.
so quick.
So fast. And they love it. So
good.
Yeah.
Well, that's
they're really into it. So yay, One Piece. So if you guys read One Piece or know One Piece, let us know. There are over 1,000 volumes of
Holy
One Piece, or chapters or something. Yeah. So One Piece is the second longest running manga series.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know what the longest one is. Maybe My Hero Academia. That one's long too.
I don't know much about the manga world. So.
I don't either. I'm learning as I go. But yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, we'll definitely post images on our social media because this thing is insane. Like, I love it. I hope he wears it all the time.
It's really cool. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to wear it all the time, and it's going to have a place of honor.
See, you're just going to be our hat person now. You know that, right?
Oh, I just make hats. That's what I do.
Because you're so good at it.
Aw, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. All right. Enough talking about manga and Tony Chopper. Let's dive in to the wonderful, magical world of djinns.
Yay.
Do you have a wish? What's your wish?
Ooh.
It's story time.
You know, it's funny. I'm going to talk about it, but Djinn have nothing to do with wishes.
Really?
Yeah. But
so all of that is like all BS?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So story time was about Djinn today. Now, a lot of this, I'm going to talk about the history of Djinn.
Okay.
And it is pretty extensive, so I'm trying to pare it down. I'm sorry that it's going to be a lot shorter than it should be. I'm also going to talk about true stories.
Okay. Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
And then my final piece today, so hopefully this isn't too long for y'all, but there's this book I read, and my opinion is I think it's a djinn.
Okay.
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 So you'll come along with me on this story time. All right. So first of all, when you hear stories of people being haunted, we can typically break down the categories, right? So, and I talked about this in the haunted California houses. So the first one, right, it's the residual hauntings, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Emotionally charged event from the past is recreated over and over as if stuck in a time loop. And sometimes they're mundane, but obviously it was an important part of that past soul's life.
Right.
Then there are intelligent hauntings, right? Where you may feel a touch or a tug on your clothing or something moving or footsteps. So
there's an interactive
exactly. And it's not always huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you'll
a little tug on your skirt as you're walking down the street in front of the Whaley house.
Hey yo. Now then you've got poltergeist.
Yes.
Now I will probably dive into poltergeist at some point.
Yes.
But there's the theory that poltergeist cases are typically attached to young teenage females. Did you know that?
No, but it makes sense because that's a lot of their energy is unfocused and they're open to a lot of.
Right.
They're just open. They're more
yes.
open. Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy, but there's not very many poltergeist cases out there. But like I said, the ones that I'll maybe talk about in the future, it's usually around a family and it's usually around a female and it's usually the same things over and over again. And you can't leave them, right? They follow the girl. Mm-hmm. But sometimes these poltergeist cases, the ones where it's like so intelligent, like where the case is just like in the poltergeist movie where you look away and then you look back and your chairs are stacked up all crazy. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Or cupboards are wide open. Things are flying. Things are moving. I think those are djinn.
Oh, okay. Because they're more intelligent.
They are very intelligent beings and they're invisible. So let's talk about djinn. Okay. Now, there are a few different paths on how you can see one. From Wikipedia, djinn are very old, ancient creatures that date back to pre-Islamic Arabia and later in Islamic culture and beliefs. They were in the Quran and even in pre-Islamic literature that dates back to the 7th century. The term djinn is not even Arabic, but of Aramaic origin, denoting demonized pagan deities.
Oh.
It's crazy. So they're tied to the religion, though, of Islamic folklore. And Islam acknowledged spirits from other religions and was able to adapt them during its expansion. So even though djinn are surrounded in the early religion, they are recognized in several pagan beliefs integrated into Islam.
Okay.
Now, although the Quran condemns the pre-Islamic Arabian practice of worshiping or seeking protection from them, some believe that djinn were indeed malevolent beings.
Uh-oh.
Now, usually jinn are invisible.
Okay.
They were made from fire. So they were human in their beliefs. Humans were made from clay and jinn were made from fire, smoke and fire.
Okay. Yeah.
And they can change at will. The favorable apparently is the snake form.
Ooh.
But they can also appear as scorpions, lizards, or even as humans. Sometimes if they seek revenge, they'll inhabit the assailant's body and refuse to leave unless an exorcism is performed.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing with the snake and the scorpion reminds me of that movie Sinister with Ethan Hawke.
Yes.
Right? Do you get what I'm saying? I wonder if that creature, because it was a malevolent creature,
right,
if that was a jinn.
Well, so to me, I think as you're saying that is that jinn and demons have kind of an intertwined title.
Yes, that makes sense now.
Right?
Yeah. That's really funny because I thought jinns were like genies.
Good, right?
Yeah.
No.
Well, not good. I didn't think they
okay.
were good. I thought they were like genies, but I thought they were a malevolent version of genies. So they're more mischievous.
They can be, for sure.
And I thought it was all tied to wishes.
No,
And
which
it's
I'm going to go
not.
into why that's a
Interesting.
total lie. Okay. But so a commonly held belief is that jinn cannot harm someone who wears something with the name of God written upon it. So again, there's that kind of correlation with demons. In the pre-Islamic era, it was also thought that even though the powers of the jinn exceeded those of humans, it was conceivable that a man could kill a jinn or genie, singular form, and I'll talk about that too, in single combat. Now, I like this from Wikipedia. According to the Asherites, the existence of jinn and demons cannot be proven or falsified because arguments concerning the existence of such entities are beyond human comprehension.
I like that.
Right?
That's true.
I think that's like a lot of things that are supernatural and paranormal. Adepts of Ashari theology explain that jinn are invisible to humans because humans lack the appropriate sensory organs to envision them.
Interesting.
There you go. Now, throughout time, the idea of the jinn has varied and changed, and even modern theories of the jinn from pre-Islamic believe that jinn was actually real diseases, since they strongly believe it affected mental health.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And in Egypt, there's a belief that a jinn attack is really sleep paralysis, which I'm actually going to talk about a story who believes that it was not sleep paralysis. So people thought that was very interchangeable.
Right. Okay.
Now, jinns are seen across religions, as I mentioned before. In Buddhism, you have spiritual entities that are subject to the human cycle of life. And in Christianity, jinn are the children of Lilith and devils. So they do share those similar qualities to humans, like eating, procreation, and dying, but also share qualities of devils, such as flying, invisibility, and passing through solid substances.
Oh.
So it's crazy. There's these little nuances that we share with them, but they are definitely higher beings in that spectrum.
Right.
Okay. Now, on the Britannica website, it is stated that jinn delight in punishing humans for any harm done to them intentionally or unintentionally. And there are classes of jinn: ghoul.
Oh, ghouls.
Treacherous spirits of changing shape, ghouls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ifrit, diabolical evil spirits, and Sila, treacherous spirits of invariable form. So there are classes of jinn.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much.
I know, me too.
This is exciting.
Yeah. Then from the Siyasat Daily website, it mentions that jinn are a species of intelligent creatures who were created by Allah from an intense, smokeless fire, like I said before.
Okay.
They exist in the unseen realm of creation, another dimension without physical or material form. Many jinn are merely creatures like any other animal, but Satan, or Iblis, this is another name, is the leader of the evil jinn.
Okay.
So if you hear that name, Iblis.
Iblis is Satan.
Is basically Satan.
Okay.
It also goes on to say many people have encountered ghosts or poltergeists with the appearance of dead loved ones or people from the past. Many other people witness aliens and UFOs, which they think are creatures from another planet. This is to them, okay? This is their opinion.
Yeah.
In reality, these experiences are caused by mischievous jinn who take on these forms as a trick. Like human beings, there are good and evil jinn. They can choose to have faith in Allah and perform good deeds, or to disbelieve in Allah and follow the commands of their chief, Satan. See, there's so many interpretations, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then, okay, so the singular term Jinni that I mentioned earlier, right? Genie, references in Aladdin's lamp from 1001 Nights, as well as other fictional works. So speaking of, why are Djinn associated with wishes?
Yes.
This stemmed from the story 1001 Nights. Okay. That book, the story, this fable came out centuries. Like it was what was it again? 7th century, 8th century, like a long time ago. So people kind of took that and ran with it and go, oh, Djinn,
this is what a
genie.
A genie
story
grants
time.
wishes.
Yes.
Okay. Just because this one particular Djinn granted wishes for this one character in this one story.
Yes.
All of our knowledge came from that.
Correct.
Wow.
But Western civilization, yes. So the Eastern civilization or East in the Islamic, they know what Djinn are. They're very knowledgeable.
So they're like laughing at us.
Yes, going, oh, it's not
wrong.
genies. Yes, exactly.
I'm a genie in a bottle. Gotta rub me the right way.
There you go. See? Exactly. Now, I've crossed the interwebs. I like that word. Okay, interwebs.
Yes.
There are sites that have collected many Djinn stories from real people. So like I said before, we're going to go into a few of those. Okay. I grew up in an Arab household with many Arab family friends, so I've heard many scary Djinn stories. A family friend of mine claimed that she went to bed one night and her whole house was a mess. By the time she woke up, her whole house was clean.
That's not your Djinn, honey. That's your mom.
For some reason, that freaked me out when I was little. Yeah,
it's
her
mom.
Every night, I made sure that my room was clean so that Djinns wouldn't clean it for me.
Oh, I love that.
Yep. Nowadays, being a wife and a full-time college student, I could only pray that a Djinn would clean my house for me and what the heck, cook dinner as well.
Nah, just call your mom.
Yeah. Say thanks, Mom. Oh, fun times, right?
My husband and I used to joke when we were dating that like some fairies would come magically clean the house, and it's always me. Like, it was a magical fairy that came and like did all the laundry and cleaned the house.
Oh my gosh, I'll have to show you. I think it's a college humor video where it's the same thing, where it's like the wife of this guy, he's like, she's fed up with him because he won't do anything, he doesn't clean, she's constantly cleaning, she's trying, and she's like, I'm gonna leave. He's like, no, I gotta show you something. He's like, every night this table just cleans itself. I'll put things on it and I'll wake up and it's gone. And she's like fuming because he's so in belief that it's magical. And he does the same. He's like, the fridge. The fridge it's always empty when I leave it, and then I'll open it and it's full. The dishes. He's like, I was like, you need to witness this. And she's like, she basically leaves. It's hilarious. So
that's awesome.
yeah. So
that's so funny.
There you go. Okay, next one. So apparently in Saudi, my aunt lived in a house that was always being visited by a particular Djinn who used to annoy her family. Once she was laying in bed at night with her husband. She felt that something was off, and when she left the room, she found her husband watching TV on the couch. When they went back to the bedroom to confront the Djinn, it just laughed and went away. So again, it's not like it just wants to play with us, apparently. You know? A few years ago, when I was on my 3rd trimester of pregnancy, I would only be able to fall asleep when dawn came. Just as I was about to fall asleep one night, I felt pressure on the end of my bed near my feet, as if someone very heavy sat on the bed, which was weird because I didn't even hear anyone come into the room. No creaking door, no footsteps. Just then, an eerie voice spoke straight into my mind. The language was unintelligible and distorted. I knew it wasn't human, but to my surprise, I understood what it was trying to say. My brain processed it easily, as if I had learned the language somewhere in the past. It asked me to pray my morning prayer. I was too sleepy and too scared to actually open my eyes. What if its face was suddenly right in front of my nose?
Right? Yeah.
Yep. So I responded in my head, communicating without actually opening my mouth to say a word. Later, please. I'm so tired. I didn't get to sleep. After I said so, the weight on the end of my bed lifted. The air, which was previously heavy with presence, became light and clear. I opened my eyes a little and saw the earliest morning light gleam through my window. My door stood still. No one came in or out. I fell back to sleep.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
So again, these aren't like crazy tales, but these are people who heavily believe in Djinn.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to like this one.
Okay.
Someone posted about a story how when his maternal grandmother was on her deathbed, a cat started to appear in their home. The cat would even appear in the home when all the doors and windows were closed. It had a really bad smell and a very dirty coat. And whenever
I'm hitting her because she knows what we have our telepathy going on.
Yep.
She knows why I'm hitting her.
And that's why I said you like this. And whenever someone recited a holy verse from the Quran, it would vanish. After the grandmother passed away, the cat would still appear. And the few times that it did, everyone in the house fell sick.
It's the cat. It's the cat. It's the cat. What was it called? What was the cat called? Yeah, I'm freaking out. I can't remember what the cat is called, but you guys know. You were listening. You know. We talked about this. Like, I'm so excited. I've had a lot of coffee.
I love it. She kept hitting me the whole time.
What is the cat called though?
I forgot. Is it oh my God.
But it's the cat. You guys know. It's the cat that comes in and when people are dying and it smells like sulfur.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the Japanese thing. I forgot the cat. It's an evil cat.
I'm looking it up.
Evil monster cat. We're going to take a break and find it.
Hold on. It's the bakaneko. The monster cat in Japanese.
See, but it shares the commonality of, that we talk about how cool that is, right? We have different words and terms for different creatures.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So maybe the bakaneko is a djinn.
Oh, that's crazy. The bakaneko.
Bakaneko.
I'm excited. I love it when this happens. When two different cultures that have nothing to do with each other have a shared experience, have different names for it, different understandings of it, but it is a shared experience.
Yep.
So that is proof to me that is real, because it's like, how in the world would two different cultures that have nothing to do with each other, completely oblivious to who each other are, probably at this point when these cats are coming out,
and they just kind of create their own names and
mythology around them, but it's the same thing that's happening. Oh, so cool.
Same thing. Next one, my great uncle went to visit his cousins in India. His cousins told him that since it was summertime and they would all sleep in the courtyard together. However, they told him he wasn't allowed to place his bedding in a particular corner. Apparently, a djinn slept there, and strange things happened if anyone disturbs that corner. My great uncle said it was nonsense and decided to sleep there anyway. One night, he woke up on the other side of the court. He laughed at first and thought it was his cousins who were pranking him, and decided to sleep there again. The following night, the same thing happens. So he left a note next to his pillow saying, "Stop pranking me. I know there is no djinn." That night, he said he was pushed off his bed and his bedding was thrown to the other side. A note was thrown into his lap which said, "I sleep here." The scary part is it wasn't that dark and there was no one there. Don't mess with the djinn, man.
These djinn are cracking me up. I love it
because they're mischievous. They want to do what they're kind of in our world too, so they're gonna be like, no.
It's not anything. They're just like grumpy cats. Like, it's not anything that's like too bad. They're just like, not yet. We haven't gotten to those stories yet.
Last one I'm gonna get to. It's gonna freak you out. All right, one more before we do get into that.
Okay.
This is a true short story, which I experienced when I was asleep one night, and I thought that I would die in my sleep.
Oh, no.
Before this experience, I only heard other people's experiences and did not really believe in what some jinns can really do to harm human beings. But I know what good some jinns can do to help human beings. Like human beings, jinns are good and bad. Jinns are made of smokeless fire, while humans are made of clay, according to Islam. So he's just recapping. This short story is based on an Islamic experience, but I think non-Muslims may experience it too. I have been advised that it is sleep paralysis, but I don't believe in sleep paralysis. I believe that jinns live among us and mess around with us to make fun of us humans and have a laugh. In deep sleep, I could feel my breathing becoming slow and prolonged under the thick duvet on a cold winter's night. I felt very comfortable and not disturbed in my peaceful sleep, which does not happen regularly. Falling into deeper sleep, I started to dream, or I thought I was starting to dream. With my eyes suddenly opening and looking at the bedroom ceiling, I could see myself on the ceiling like a mirror reflection.
Ooh, astral projection.
All of a sudden, my view changed to see myself in bed sleeping. At that point, my view did not change, but I was floating from the ceiling down to the floor and standing against the bedroom wall opposite to my bed. Pointing towards my conscious body in bed, I started laughing, and at the same time, I could feel myself in bed and leaning against the bedroom wall. I thought to myself that this is a very odd dream, something I'd never experienced before. The weirdest thing was I was not able to move, speak, or even try to wake up, or I thought I was asleep when in fact I was probably awake. All this was happening so smoothly, there was no opportunity for me to think what is actually happening to me. The visions ended and I was back in bed asleep thinking it's all over, but to my surprise, I could feel pressure on my chest, pressure that was becoming unbearably slow, finding it difficult to breathe. Feeling my heartbeat slow down, I tried to move the duvet cover off my chest to allow me to take a breath and wake up, but to no avail. Concentrating on my breathing, I could not carry out the simple task and could feel being strangled around my neck. My consciousness fading away, I thought I would be strangled to death and it was becoming inevitable that I would die. I thought to myself that I am dying and started shouting and screaming so that my uncle and aunt would wake up and come running into my room to help me fight off what I knew now was a Djinn attacking me.
Ooh.
Usually when I cough or talk in a normal tone, they can hear me or I can hear them coughing and talking from their room. I could not understand why they weren't acknowledging my screaming and shouting for help. I tried to concentrate on the next room and could hear my uncle and aunt snoring and thought this was a genuine attack of the Djinn and I have to do something to fight it off by myself or else I would be strangled to death. Dying in my sleep didn't seem too bad at that point because I had lived a life I was happy with and achieved some things what I wanted. If I die now, I will die with a smile on my face. But why should I give up and lose this fight with the Djinn?
Yeah, don't roll over
Don't do
and
it.
die. Yeah.
My mind is still slightly conscious, but I cannot open my mouth. And even if I thought I could and shouted and screamed, there is no one in the world who could help me right now. Not even my uncle and aunt who are sleeping peacefully in the next room. If it is my time to die, I might as well die as a Muslim. And the last words before death as a Muslim should be said, the kalima. There is no chance left for me to live or fight off the Djinn, which was winning its battle to kill me by sitting on my chest and strangling me to death. My breathing stops, but I can still think. So I'm going to summarize this. He starts to chant the words for Allah.
Of the prayer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly I could feel my chest becoming lighter and the strangle easing off. This is working. Even if I die now, I know God willing, I will go to heaven. So he's saying again. He's saying again.
Yeah, you say the prayer.
Yep.
Because the Djinn have to respond to the God and
Yes.
respond to prayer. Yeah.
The Djinn completely let go of my neck and the pressure was totally off my chest. I breathed out and took a very deep breath in, opened my eyes, started to move and felt very wet. My whole body was sweaty and my breathing restored back to normal. He was alive. His uncle and aunt were still asleep, snoring, and he thanked Allah and he prayed till sunrise. Now, I want to dive into what happened to the Moffitt family back in the 80s and 90s. Okay?
Ooh.
This book is called Unwelcome, The True Story of the Moffitt Family Haunting, and it got a little wet, dang it. I was like, oh, it's from my cleaner thing that I left in my backpack. But anyway,
Okay.
This is by Deborah Moffitt. You know what's cool about this is I just heard Blumhouse pick this up for a movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's how crazy it is. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the start. I'm not going to tell you the whole book, obviously, because I want you to read it.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you all these things that you think about what I talked about with the Djinn.
Okay.
And then I will go in the end about why I think
it's a Djinn and not poltergeist.
I think it's a Djinn and not a demon.
A demon.
They call it a demon.
Okay.
Okay. So Deborah, her name wasn't Moffitt back then, but Deborah met Bill Moffitt in 1986 through a magazine want ad column where someone was looking for tape shows of professional wrestling in LA. Yeah.
Nice.
While Deborah, or Debbie is how she goes by in the book, was in New York. She watched professional wrestling and taped them with her brother, so she began corresponding with him, and soon they fell in love across the country.
Aww.
Yeah. Bill mentioned, though, his grandfather, Andre Cuccia, was a member of the Costa Nostra families in Cali, a.k.a. the Sicilian Mafia. Yeah. Now, because of this, Bill's mother, Lee, was very religious and ashamed of her father's life choice. She prayed for him and the things that the family did constantly. And Bill's father, whose name is Bill Sr., was not very easy to get along with. He was very sarcastic and brash and insulting, negative about everything.
Oh, no.
Even later, this is mentioned in the book, that she found out Bill Sr. cheated on Lee throughout their marriage, argued with her in drunken rants, and even verbally and physically abused her. Yet Lee stood by him and made excuses for him.
Oh, Lee, no.
So that paints the picture of Bill Sr., Lee, and then there's Bill Jr.
Stuck in the middle of all this.
Right.
But absorbing everything that's happening in his family.
Yes.
So got it. Okay.
But Debbie fell really hard for Bill, and they did get married. She ended up moving out to LA for him. Lee's grandfather owned a huge lot of land in Rancho Cucamonga, and he gave the lot of land to Lee, as well as a part of the lot to his other daughter, Cora. When Cora and her husband passed away, her lot and house was given to Bill in the early 1980s. The other home on the lot was Lee's grandfather's home. So there was a total of 3 homes on the property. Mm-hmm. Now, Dominica, that was Lee's mom, still lived in her home prior to Bill and Debbie's marriage, but she suffered a stroke that required a live-in assistant. They hired Juanita. But Debbie basically said Juanita got sus and wouldn't allow anyone in because Dominica was asleep or recovering. Okay. Mm-hmm. One night she had to be rushed to the hospital, Dominica. And when Juanita, she wasn't there, found out, she acted even more sus. So Dominica passes away in the hospital.
Aww.
A night or two afterwards, Juanita was in Dominica's home and came running out screaming. Debbie witnessed a big ball of light exiting the home. Juanita warned Lee never to enter the home as there was something in there. She was picked up by a friend and they never saw her again. Later, they had to go into the house to clean it, right? Mm-hmm. But what they saw was crazy. It was said there was, quote unquote, broken rosary beads, bloodstains, feathers, and melted candles. It leads the reader to think the paranormal activity that started was connected to Juanita.
Well, yeah.
She was.
So I think Juanita was performing some crazy voodoo-like religious kind of tied together things.
Right.
And why she wasn't letting anybody go see Dominica.
Exactly. Sus. Not cool.
And like, why was she there after Dominica passed away?
I don't know. She shouldn't have been there.
Wait, she was a live-in?
She was the live-in assistant.
Okay. So
she's
she was
probably
still,
just still kind
living
of,
there, getting her stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
but I think she didn't want to leave because this was a job and this was a home and it was nice. And then if Dominica passed away,
so
what would she do?
Right. Was she trying to?
I think she was either trying to keep Dominica alive through
voodoo and rituals and
or
sacrifices,
something.
It sounds like it was some
sacrifice,
kind of like Santeria kind of stuff going on. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah.
I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal balls.
She didn't. Okay. So then Bill and Debbie decided to rent out the home Bill inherited. Just a room and access to the house while they kept the basement to store Bill's sport paraphernalia. So this is the house that Bill and Debbie were kind of living in. And they went out and lived with Lee and Bill Sr. Okay. So there's the 3 properties still, right?
Yeah.
And things were good until they went to check on the sports stuff in the basement. And what they found was shocking. Now note the room was locked and Bill had the only key.
Okay.
All of Bill's baseball bobbleheads were on the floor upright in the shape of a triangle.
Okay.
They confronted the renter and he said he knew nothing of what was in that room. This guy in the book they talk about, he just like worked at Circle K and he was just like doing his thing.
Yeah.
He said he was never home. He was just working. He'd come home, shower, and
yeah.
Didn't even know what was in the basement.
Right. Okay. And he didn't have a key.
No, didn't have a key.
Go in there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill and Debbie, like I said, were living with Lee and Bill Sr. and strange things started to appear on Lee's chest where she held her religious statues. Again, Lee was very religious, right?
Right.
But things started showing up. Jewelry, socks, and receipts began to manifest, and they realized the paraphernalia was a tenant in Bill's home. So it was his stuff.
So the Circle K guy's stuff started showing up at Lee's house.
On her religious chest. Just out of nowhere.
Maybe the Circle K guy had like more to him.
Could be.
I just shower
here. Yeah. No. So they didn't want to tell this tenant because they would seem like they were stealing his stuff, right?
Oh, that's
so
funny.
what they would do is when the tenant was at work, they snuck back into the home, returned things back to where they naturally think they came from. Okay?
The Circle K guy's probably like going
what's
crazy.
happening? Yeah.
Like he'll wake up in the morning. He's like, why do I only have one sock?
Yeah.
I need another sock. Where's my sock? And
Right.
then the next day it's like,
It's
or he
there.
comes home later and it's there. And he's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Nope.
Okay.
That would
So,
drive me crazy.
a super quick side note story.
Yeah.
My siblings, I have 2 older siblings. They used to do that to me.
That's right. You told me that. Yeah.
Right.
Your
So
shoes
I had
would
these
disappear.
Yeah, I had these red shoes that I had to wear all the time because I loved them.
Yeah.
And then when it was time to go to church, one would magically be gone, just gone.
It's a Djinn.
And then they wouldn't find it until after it
Right.
was too late to go to church.
Right.
This was my brother and or my sister would hide one shoe
So
from me.
mean.
And I would get in trouble all the time for never having my shoes
Yep.
together.
Because they did it.
Yeah, and it drove me crazy because purposefully before I would go to bed on Saturday, I would make sure my shoes were there because I didn't want to get in trouble again.
Right.
And I'd wake up and there would be one gone.
So mean.
And then they'd always find it in the bottom of the toy chest or somewhere else or whatever. And so yeah. I feel your pain, Circle K guy.
Your siblings are the Djinn. Okay. So they would return them, right, to his house. But yet when they returned back to Lee's home, like right after, the items were just back in the same place on Lee's chest.
No.
Now later, strange symbols showed up around that tenant's home, the Circle K guy. Most common was that of a triangle with a tail.
A triangle with a tail.
I looked this up everywhere. I could not find anything like this.
Triangle
with a tail.
Interesting.
They were on every single light switch in the home. They blamed the tenant. He denied it, said he's never home, like I said. And they believed him because he sounded so sincere. But soon he announced he was leaving. He's like, nope, I don't want to be here
Like
anymore.
I'm done with my stuff.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
never being where it was.
He didn't say. Yeah, he's just like, I'm gone.
He's like, stop accusing me of drawing triangles. And
He said he was going to be gone by Friday. He was gone by Sunday. Oh, he told him Friday. He was like, I'm leaving. And he was gone that weekend.
oh wow,
He packed up and
He's like,
left.
I'm done.
Yeah, this is insane.
Yeah.
Now, they went back to clean that home again. Debbie went to dust a shelf with little statues on the top of it, okay? She turned her head really quickly to yell at Bill to bring a duster. As soon as she turned her head back, all the statues were facing away from her with their backs at her. Like, nope.
Oh,
Nope.
that's good.
Freaking crazy. Now, back in the rental home again, weeks later, they went to prep the home for another rental tenant, and things were fine. They went through the living room to another, but minutes later, they went back to the living room where all the furniture was in the middle of the room.
Ooh, just shoved in the middle of the room. Interesting.
Now, I'm kind of going through a lot of this because I don't want to give you all the book, but another tenant that had lived there mentioned using an Ouija board at home.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You
So
crazy
heads up,
tenant.
don't do that, okay? Now, strange things obviously kept happening when they went to check on the empty home again because their tenants were coming in and out.
Yeah. They're like,
nope.
"Peace.
Yeah.
Your
A
house is haunted."
large cement tiger with red jewels for eyes was sitting in the entranceway as they opened the door.
Why?
This thing was so huge, Debbie couldn't pick it up to move it. They didn't own this thing. It just appeared out of nowhere. Yes.
That's so weird.
Right? Why?
I don't know why the story's making me laugh so much, but it's awesome.
It's crazy, right?
A cement tiger.
A big cement tiger with red ruby eyes.
Oh my goodness.
Now, the paranormal activity moved dramatically into the home where Debbie, Bill, and Lee and Bill Sr. were living. From Debbie's own words, some things seemed random while others indicated a type of intelligence or purpose. Items moving, doors shutting by themselves, lights going on and off, and the TV changing channels on its own were just a few of the events that were growing more common. Now, after they were just experiencing this, they couldn't get rid of it. They decided to move.
Okay.
They're like, we need a bigger house anyway. We're going to move. We're going to leave this.
We're done with
Yes.
this. Let's just fresh start.
Yes. And on moving day, it got chaotic. When packing upstairs, they heard a loud crash from downstairs and found all the cupboards in the kitchen had been ripped off their hinges, not fallen off, ripped because there were shards of wood everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Then they heard a crash from upstairs. The windows in the bedrooms were blasted from the inside.
What?
All the windows of the bedroom.
That's so crazy.
And trigger warning.
Okay.
They left their pit bull German Shepherd mix in the yard of their old house while they took everything over to their new house and would get her in the next morning. When they returned, they found something dreadful. The pup had been either pushed or pulled by a very strong force through the 4-inch gap of their wrought iron fence and had severed the dog in two.
Oh my gosh, you poor puppy.
So it became violent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
It's poor doggy. I know.
Poor dog.
Yeah. And they were devastated.
Oh, a German Shepherd pit bull mix?
That's a big dog.
A big dog.
4-inch gap.
That's not enough space for the puppy.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
My heart.
I know.
I need to cuddle my dog right now. Good thing her little face is on my
on
lap.
you. Now, things at the beginning were fine in their new home, with one small oddity at first. A picture frame Debbie noticed was just turned around. That was it. She was like, okay, cool. Things are fine. Now, Lee, though, her mother-in-law, wanted to go back to the old house to plant flowers. She thought that the yard needed pretty flowers.
Okay, so everybody, all 4 of them moved into the new house.
All 4 moved into the new house. Lee wanted to go back.
And plant flowers.
Yes.
Because...
No idea. She just really wanted to.
Are they renting the old houses? I mean, because there's multiple houses
I'm gonna
on
guess
that property
they were.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Or they're going to sell it at some point.
Yeah.
So they thought because they were outside, things were going to be okay.
They would be okay.
So Debbie
They're not
and
in
Lee.
the house. They're outside the house. No, but something happened to the dog, so we know that the Djinn is outside the house.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Debbie and Lee went back. And as Lee was planting her flowers, Debbie witnessed Lee basically fly into the air as if an invisible force kicked her.
Whoa.
Then as Debbie ran to Lee, they felt something hit them. And they looked up and they noticed small pebbles flying at them out of nowhere.
Whoa.
They took cover and the raining pebbles lasted for about a minute, but then it stopped. Debbie picked up one of the little pebble rocks and it was cold to the touch.
Okay.
Came out of nowhere. Pebble storm, done.
It wasn't hail?
No, because it was only over them.
And it wasn't hail?
No. It was like pebbles.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
How is it raining pebbles over them?
It's going to get crazier.
That's
one out of okay.
One out of many.
Hold on to your pants. Yeah.
Okay.
So the new house was way bigger than the old home, and Debbie just had their first baby.
Aw, baby.
Decided to install an intercom system in order to talk to everyone easier because of how big this home was. But soon, because there's no cell phones, right? But soon, in the middle of the night, the intercom started beeping on its own. Static would just start playing out of nowhere and at different volumes, and they could swear they could hear voices as well, but they were undecipherable.
Okay, so I get this. Our house was built in the 80s that we're in right now, so we have an intercom system in our house, and the kids
go crazy.
The kids mess with it all the time, but like if you weren't expecting it, it doesn't turn on its own, but the kids will mess with it. And you hear the static, and you're like, "What?"
It's jarring.
It's jarring.
Yeah, but they weren't messing with it. That's the crazy part. No one was touching it.
Yeah.
They ended up having to take the intercoms down because it was just getting too much for them.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, soon after, this is where it gets insane. Okay. Even more insane.
Okay.
And here's another reason why I think this might be a Djinn. They found a message on the bathroom mirror. It said, "Talk to me."
Whoa.
Lee had just cleaned the bathroom, went to get fresh towels, and it was written there as soon as she came back. It was written in soap, and they began to grow suspicious of each other. But why would one of them write that?
Right.
But as you can guess, there were more and more writing on the mirror. It never happened in front of anyone, though. They would ask it questions, and it wouldn't respond.
Yeah.
And at first it pretended to be Lee's dead sister, calling it her old nicknames. It called itself, I forgot her name, but nickname.
Okay.
Bill Sr. kept asking its name. And at one point it replied with "talk or burn." Like it wanted them to talk to them. It finally called itself Prince.
Prince. Purple
not
rain,
that Prince.
Purple rain. She saw it. She saw my head start playing it and
just nodding her head. Yeah, no, Prince. But like I said, so they would ask it a question and talk to it, and then they would leave out the bathroom, and then they would come right back in, and it was written. Everything was written in like that second. Yeah, it gets insane. All right. So they eventually hired a psychologist. They thought of going to the church first, but they wanted to just ensure they weren't crazy, which that's pretty logical.
That makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
The psychologist's findings, he felt they were all very truthful, honest, and recommended actually hiring a parapsychologist or a university faculty who taught courses in the paranormal. So remember, this is the late 80s when it wasn't as, internet's not there. It's not as big. It's not as...
Right.
So, yeah, he's saying, go find somebody because you got some problems.
I love it.
They had a priest come.
Oh, okay.
Priest didn't believe him.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that was fun. Now, the second floor was becoming extremely wrecked of their new home. Bill Sr. and Lee's room specifically was torn to shreds.
Oh, no.
So they moved in with Bill and Debbie.
They moved into the same bedroom
They're
as
all
Bill
in the
and
same
Debbie?
room with Bill, Debbie, and the baby.
Oh,
because
no.
Everything keeps happening to them.
But, okay.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not healthy
and
for anybody.
I know I'm
That
jumping
is not
around
good.
a lot, but it's just because I don't want to give everything away.
Why don't Bill and Lee have their own place?
Because
why don't they?
Debbie wants to take care of Lee. Okay. And you'll see what's happening eventually.
Okay.
But she doesn't want Lee to go away. Bill's sketchy. Bill Sr.'s sketchy.
Right. Because he's abusive and cheating and all that stuff.
So they're comfortable all staying in the same room.
Well, then kick Bill Sr. out. And
Heyo. Now, the triangle with the tail symbol
yes.
began to be etched and burned into their walls, floors, and rugs.
Dude, what?
Yep. And for some reason, the entity hated Lee specifically. Like I mentioned, her clothes were destroyed. Her wallet, driver's license, credit cards were up and missing.
Dude.
He just took them and it's gone.
Oh
it was insanity in the home. So they actually ended up hiring person after person to help, but nothing did. Even Lee began to talk to Bill Sr. in Tobresh, which is a dead language made up of Italian and Albanian, thinking that whatever was plaguing them wouldn't understand. But Mr. Entity, this is the nickname that Debbie calls it now. From now on, we're calling it Mr. Entity.
Mr. Entity.
He would write on the bathroom mirror in Tobresh. So he knew he's an ancient. He knows everything. Like, why would you think that wouldn't stop him?
Okay, I'm coming up with a theory, and I haven't read the book, but now I'm kind of thinking that it's Lee. Like, maybe Lee has a split personality disorder or something. I don't know. I mean, because she's been through so much. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking, I don't know. But, I mean, they went to a psychologist and... Yeah. So I don't know.
And these things that are happening all over, she's frail old woman. She cannot do all what's happening right now.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So she also tried Spanish and Italian, and well, duh, if you can understand a dead language, it was going to understand common languages of today. So It was responding in Spanish and Italian on the mirror. Now, Lee was constantly tortured by Mr. Entity. Again, knives were left strategically where she sat or slept.
Oh my gosh, knives!
They would have to constantly check around her bed, wherever she sat, areas, wherever she'd go, just to make sure she was okay.
Dude.
So obviously Lee was the target of all the chaos.
Dude, Juanita set this off, that crazy woman.
Could be, yeah. They also noticed it hated religious paraphernalia.
Okay, so now I see why you think it's a Djinn.
Lee being very religious, had sacred objects all over, and they would find her Catholic saint statues with their heads ripped off or shattered, crosses turned upside down, etc. On the mirror one day, Mr. Entity wrote, "The Bible is God's fairy tale."
Ah!
When Lee went to get holy water from a church, the mirror stated, "Holy water is God's piss."
Oh my God.
He did not like religious things.
No.
And not just affects were manipulated, but animals as well.
Oh no. Stop messing with the animals,
Yep.
Mr. Entity.
At one point, crows bombarded their house at specific hours of the day.
Dude.
Usually around 6 p.m. And they would expect it so much that they would watch the crows come and shatter their mirror, like just dive bomb their house.
Dude.
And then right after they're done, they knew what to do. They go out and clean all the dead crows off of their lawn.
Dude. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, here come the crows.
Yeah.
It must be 6 o'clock.
It's 6 o'clock. Crows are here.
Oh my gosh.
Then they had rats flooding their home and their walls. Thankfully, that didn't last long, but they would hear scratching and then they would be like, what is that? And then rats would be everywhere.
Gross. No, thank you.
Mr. Entity would also travel with them to different locations, like I mentioned before. They would go to restaurants, and when they returned home, things would be waiting for them, such as the waiters or waitresses' name tags, silverware, etc. Or even Lee would look away from her food, look back down, and a huge bite would be taken from it.
Dude.
When shopping, things randomly showed up in their shopping cart or go missing. When they went to check out in one occasion, they found 25 steak knives in their cart. The cashier asked, the cashier was like, are you planning to buy all of those? And Lee was super embarrassed. And she said, oh, I don't know how they got in there, but they knew. They knew what happened.
They knew.
Yep.
Crazy Jen.
So real quick, I'm going to show Angela some pictures.
I love pictures.
So Debbie documented this as much as she could.
Yeah.
There's the knives in her bed. That was Lee's bed.
Oh my gosh. They're all like pointing at each. How many knives are there?
I don't know, but there's a lot.
So. Dude.
And then that's the mirror that would always be written on in the bathroom.
Like a big X on it.
Yeah, but he would always write in it. Symbols. Okay. Look at the bed. It was still moving when this photo was taken.
What? Okay, so the bed is like rocked up on 2 of its legs. That's crazy.
She caught it on camera.
The side. Oh my gosh.
Things are left everywhere.
Do they have pictures of the triangle with the tail?
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. I can show you that eventually here. Yeah, there you go.
Weird, man.
It was left
in
baby
every powder
situation. Spray paint.
Oh my gosh.
Carved. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Always destruction every day in their house.
Oh my gosh.
To keep the torture up, the family would start to smell awful things in their home. Rotten food, feces, and sulfur were common.
Oh.
They would hear whispering all around them and sometimes their names being called from other rooms when the family was all together and the doorbell would ring 24/7.
Oh no.
Throughout the late 80s, they invited, again, so many more people to help. Shamans, priests, psychics, etc. She goes into so much detail about these specific people coming over.
Dude.
Mr. Entity would jeer and talk smack about them in the mirror before and after and mock everybody who came.
Dude.
But then the Moffitts heard about Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Oh, yeah. Go Warrens.
They were visiting California for some specific meeting, and Debbie asked if they could come to their home, and they obliged. Strangely, Mr. Entity remained quiet about the Warrens' visit. Right when they got to their home, a box of toys slid across the floor to block Lorraine.
Oh.
And she was
scared of Lorraine.
Yeah, Debbie was very surprised by this because they never saw things moving. They would just see them already moved.
Yeah.
So this was actually new to her. Lorraine, the Warrens listened to their case, and Lorraine examined the home.
Dog.
Always. Now, Lorraine, after she examined everything, believed that what was haunting them was a very powerful ancient demon and one of the most intelligent demons she had ever encountered. The next day, they interviewed each family member alone. Debbie said that she was not afraid of Mr. Entity. It had never hurt her, and she had a feeling that it wasn't after her, but Lee alone. So Debbie didn't get any malevolent...
Right. It was just going after Lee.
Yeah. And that intrigued the Warrens. They mentioned that each needed to attend church weekly and all needed to be baptized. Debbie's son Jamie wasn't, so they planned to go to a church with a priest that the Warrens were friends with. They also mentioned they needed to complete a rite of provocation in the home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Later, when they did this, it seemed as if Bill Sr. was possessed and even confronted Ed Warren. It's crazy how they explain how he looked. It was just not him. It was creepy. And as he approached him, Ed told him he held a holy relic and that he couldn't hurt him. But Bill Sr. replied with, "I will bite off your hand, chew it, and that piece of wood up and spit it in your face."
Dude.
And then that was it. He went back and sat down, and then he doesn't remember any of that.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Now, after visiting the church, the Warrens apologized and said they couldn't do anything else for the Moffitts and recommended an exorcism. A priest was to come over to the following Sunday to perform it, but Bill Sr. told Lee that if she allowed an Episcopalian priest to perform a religious rite in her home, the Catholic Church would excommunicate her. They argued, and when the priest came and knocked at the door, her in-laws, Debbie's in-laws, refused to open the door and let him in.
Oh my gosh, come on.
Debbie was so sad and furious, embarrassed that they had to turn away this priest without any explanation to him. All the religious paraphernalia the Warrens gave them disappeared or were thrown into the pool by Mr. Entity.
So, okay, here's the thing. Bill Sr. was possessed. Yes, he was the one that was possessed. And he's the one convincing, we can't do the exorcism because why would they listen to him? That's so upsetting.
Yes.
And I'm doing that thing where I add an to the end of everything.
Because it's frustrating. But you get the sense of this, right?
Yes.
You see it, and I'm not going to give anything away, but just a heads up. Just Bill Sr., man.
Bill Sr. is crazy. He's the one doing all this.
I'm not going to give it away, but just heads up, he does have a
bigger role at play.
Yes, they think he has a bigger role in this. Okay. Yeah, and then Mr. Entity, when the Warrens left, again, usually he would mock people.
Yes.
Like all the people come in. He didn't say anything about the Warrens.
Interesting. So he's scared of the Warrens.
He knows that they're legit.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Their usual haunting phenomenon continued after the Warrens, and even Mr. Entity communicated that it would never harm Debbie, their baby, or anyone else except Lee.
Dude, it's Bill. It's his new way of torturing his wife.
It would claim that Lee was promised. Okay, so here's the fun part.
Okay.
It would claim that Lee was promised as a blood sacrifice and wouldn't leave them alone until it had Lee. Now.
Oh, what?
So, Mr. Entity would communicate a lot with Debbie, right? Through the bathroom mirror.
Right.
He wrote to her all the time. And she thought it helped evade its other more elaborate mischief at Lee if she kept talking.
If she kept talking to him, she's taking Mr. Entity's energy and attention away from Lee.
So Mr. Entity went on to tell Debbie the story about the 1600s. He says, or it says, it was conjured by monks in a monastery performing black magic. They promised a blood sacrifice to it, a nun who was a previous incarnation of Lee.
Oh, what?
But an abbot caught word and promised a monk forgiveness if he would tell the other monks that were involved. He did, and they were severely punished, and the nun was spared. Mr. Entity still wanted Lee because he claimed she belonged to him. But strangely, Mr. Entity brought Debbie gifts, rocks, pictures, jewelry, and other small things.
Uh-oh, Debbie.
So even though Debbie knew she thought it was pure evil and wanted Lee dead, she never feared it.
Because he's not after her. Oh, man.
So I'm not going to dive into any more of this because, again, I really don't want to ruin the book. And then that would be, I'd get in trouble. So read the book.
Get in trouble.
Unwelcome, the true story of the Moffitt family haunting, written by Debbie Moffitt. Again, there's a lot of things and details I left out because and they're probably important, but again, you should read the book.
Right.
Now, let me revisit why I think the Moffitts could have been haunted by a djinn.
Okay.
Now, Lorraine Warren claimed the entity was ancient, right?
Yes.
Djinn are ancient beings.
They're very ancient, yes. Pre-Christian.
Yes. Mr. Entity wrote to Debbie regarding the monks. Okay. That was a little iffy because you're trying to do a blood sacrifice. But there's a research paper out there, which I'm going to post a link to the title in our show link notes, that is entitled Human Sacrifice and Witchcraft Ritual, a Need for the Anti-Witchcraft Law. Yes, people wrote about anti-witchcraft law. That's crazy. But they state, witchcraft is an agreement between a sorcerer and an evil djinn or devil.
Okay.
Which stipulates that the sahir commit certain legal or polytheistic actions in return for the Satan's assistance and obedience in fulfilling sahir's requests. Sahir is the sorcerer.
Right.
So djinn and the devil or demons are commonly interchanged, like I said before.
Right. Yes. And I see. And the fact that it was speaking that ancient Aramaic dead language.
Oh,
right?
that's well, no, yeah. So that was Lee and Bill Senior, but
that were speaking that language, but the Djinn understood it though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he understands all dead languages too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's
ancient.
Yeah.
Now, again, this entity, Mr. Entity, was intelligent, right? So he could move things. He could carve things. He was able to manipulate animals. He gave gifts to Debbie.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
He's able to manipulate space and time.
Right.
That's a Djinn.
That's a Djinn. That's way more extensive than a poltergeist.
Yes. Exactly. Right? And you don't hear about demon hauntings a lot. It's usually when you hear about a demon, it's a possession, right? But this is just messing.
I mean, he did possess Bill.
He did. He started.
Bit,
yes. Yeah. And I'm not going to ruin any of that. So you read the book about it. Okay.
Okay.
But it's not 100% evil in my mind, because if it's not going to hurt everybody.
Yeah.
And she would go in. I didn't talk about this. Debbie would go into the bathroom telling him to leave them alone. That's why it's not, he wrote, he's like, I'm not going to hurt you guys. I'm just after the one person.
Just after Lee.
Which doesn't make sense to demons, because they're
to collect souls.
Yeah. They're going to mess with everybody.
Yeah.
Not just the one, So yeah, I think Djinn have more sway.
So why did the Djinn not follow Lee until after Dominica's death?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So maybe it found her.
Did Juanita?
I think Juanita
conjured the Djinn while she was trying to do maybe her protection spells or whatever. But
or the Ouija board,
or the Ouija.
Anything could have go. Oh, there's a soul there that I need.
But okay, yes, but the Ouija board though, that happened after the Djinn had already been haunting them. So
that's true, actually. Yeah.
Interesting.
So Juanita could have been doing something and opened up a portal.
Man, that is a crazy story.
Yeah, and I just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
There's so much more to this that I don't want to tell you.
That is like terrifying.
Yes, exactly. So like I said, though, this will be a movie eventually, which is cool.
Yeah.
And not many people know about this.
I actually have to read the book before the movie happens.
Yes, do so. Because the ending, you'll understand what happens. And spoiler alert, Mr. Entity does go away.
Oh, okay. But he's not like gone. He's probably, if he's a Djinn, he's out there somewhere.
He could be anywhere, yeah. But he leaves the family alone, and you'll see why, and you'll understand why.
Okay.
But yeah, this is insane. And I heard about this book when I listened to the Paranormal Almanac. It's another podcast that's awesome. So
Paranormal. I can't say it.
I should
Hashtag those words. Paranormal Almanac.
Yes, it's awesome. And the host that does that, he actually lives out in Burbank. So
hey.
But yeah, so check out the book. I got it on Amazon. I get everything from Amazon. But there you go. So Djinn, it's crazy. If you don't think it's a genie, please. It's not.
I'm a genie in a bottle. Gotta rub me the. I know. I already sang that.
I love that.
I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's insane.
So we got one more thing, and that's just funny because now you understand why I hate this movie.
Oh, okay. Before we get to this movie that we don't like because it's wrong, we got to do our little plugs. Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed this episode or have any stories that you may have encountered with any Djinns or anything, we want to know. We want to hear about it. So please email us at theominousstitch@gmail.com. Let me say that again because I was laughing through it. theominousstitch@gmail.com. You can also jump over to podbean.com and check out any show notes. I'm sure Nicole will post some pictures and see anything from this episode or previous episodes that you just may want to revisit. There's also a little button in the upper right-hand corner that you can click on that says Become a Patron. Woo-hoo. Patrons are how we run this show and how we can keep this going for you guys. So we would very much like to increase our patron army. In return, we will send you things. We will give you shout outs. We have patron exclusive episodes. We will be doing some more very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. And you can also reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. We want to connect with you guys. We want to talk to our Stitchers. We want to talk more about all these crazy things that are happening. Djinn,
crazy, man.
Oh, okay. I think that was all the plugs. Yes?
Yay, good job.
Okay, now it's movie time.
this episode's movie review is Wishmaster. Released in 1997, IMDb rating of 5.8 stars, and the synopsis. A demonic djinn attempts to grant its owner 3 wishes, which will allow him to summon his brethren to Earth.
Okay, Wes Craven, you obviously didn't do your research on what djinns are.
Okay, I thought this was Wes Craven too, but it doesn't say Wes. It says it on the poster.
Yeah.
The director.
It says on the poster,
right.
And then it says on
the movie, right?
In the movie,
but
yeah.
it says the director is Robert Kurtzman.
Oh.
How does that work?
Did he like produce it?
It just says Wes Craven presents.
Oh.
And so this is where I got mad because all night last night I was trying to prepare for this.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me look at Wes Craven movies. If you look at Wes Craven movies, Wishmaster is not one of them listed.
Okay. So that makes way more sense.
Right?
Because I was like, ooh, this is our first Wes Craven movie.
And it's
I was
not
so
a Wes
excited.
Craven.
I'm like, no, this is like, it's like a B movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know where Wes Craven comes into this movie because even in IMDb, the director, like I said, is Robert Kurtzman. The writer is Peter Atkins. There's nothing on IMDb that mentions Wes Craven. So tell me.
Sneaky.
Who did that?
They paid for his name or something? I don't know. Is it spelled correctly?
Yeah.
They're being super misleading here.
Seriously.
Oh, it makes me dislike it even more.
Right? Okay.
So how is Wes Craven?
He is the executive producer.
Oh,
so he just paid for it.
He paid for it.
Wes Craven, you should have invested your money in
That
better.
is very, it's very sneaky. He maybe he owed somebody a favor.
I don't know, because it doesn't feel like a Wes Craven
Not
movie.
at all. Not at all.
So hey, heads up on that. And it's funny when you see, like if you're looking for Halloween movies, like I try to watch one a day in October.
Yes,
that's my goal.
do.
I watched this a couple years ago, and Wishmaster is one of those top list of movies.
Yeah, and then there's also like a Wishmaster 2. They made a sequel.
They made a sequel out of
Yeah.
this terrible movie. But anyway,
Yeah.
This is the 90s, guys. So if you have not seen Wishmaster yet, it was made, again, 1997. It's a very 90s movie. It's got a lot.
It's a very 90s movie.
Yeah, and it's cool because it does have cameos of cool horror people. So you've got Freddy Krueger, actor, Robert Englund.
Oh, yeah.
You've got Candyman.
Yes.
Which was
yes,
weird,
yes.
a very weird cameo. And I think there's someone else that I forgot. But it tries so hard to be like a cool, creepy movie. And it just, for me, it just flopped.
Yeah. It felt like a B movie.
Yes, a B horror movie.
Yeah.
If you like B horror movies, then this is your movie.
Yeah.
You know? But again, it paints this picture of Djinn being a wish thing, but it's an evil way, like Angela said at the beginning of the podcast. If you, like it says, if you give whoever opens or finds this Djinn, if you do 3 wishes, hell basically unleashes on Earth.
Yeah, then it unleashes their kind and
Yes.
they're able to come back. The Djinn's power only exists through wishes.
Right.
So every time somebody makes a wish,
It becomes more powerful.
it obviously like turns that wish into something evil and
super
demonic,
evil,
and it's
super
away from him.
stupid. Yeah.
Like for example, somebody is dying because they're injured, they're hurt, and so he's like, I can make that pain go away, and then he's like, yes, please make the pain go away. So he kills him.
Yeah.
That's how he makes the pain go away.
Obviously, you knew you're walking yourself into that one, dude.
It reminded me a lot of the story, The Monkey's Paw.
Yeah.
The Monkey Paw, because it's. You make wishes on this monkey paw, but it's that whole old adage, be careful what you wish for, because if you don't word it right,
It's going to come right back at you.
right back at you,
Yeah.
and you're going to get the opposite of what you really wanted or
Right.
expected.
Which
Yeah.
I love the spoiler, which one I always think of if like when you're asking for money, right? So one of
Yeah.
the jeweler guys was like, I want $1 million and I'll tell you the address of, and he's
Yeah.
like, done. And and then you go and you pans to his mom.
And she dies in a plane wreck.
She dies
so
in a
that
plane.
He gets his
yeah.
money.
She listed him as a beneficiary. So
Yeah.
he's dead. Or she's dead. And
Yeah.
so it's just that kind of silliness. And then there's like a couple jump scares. I don't know. And the overacting of the main actress, she's hilarious.
She's very annoying. And like the whole like, You've got to be silent or
Stillness. She's a basketball coach and she's smoking like nonstop.
Yeah.
I love that.
And the whole like story of like her best friend, should she date him? Oh no.
Oh yeah.
And then, but I don't know. I mean, the way that she got herself out of it, the wish, I guess, was clever. She finally made like a clever wish. Clever
but
witch.
See, even then, like, I feel like it would still, he would be able to manipulate it. Like, oh, he's not drunk, but then he slips on something and he hits the thing and it knocks everything and it starts all over again. Like,
right.
There could have been a loophole in that, but no, in the movie, it's not. So
yeah,
I thought that was dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb. He would have made a loophole for it, but I think they were just like, it's time to end
it. This is the best way to end it that we know how to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it paints Djinn in a bad light again.
Yeah.
It's not a genie, guys. It's not.
It's not a genie. They did get the ancient being thing down.
Yeah.
So
when she visits the lady who knows about her ancient things, she does touch up on actual accurate things, but it's again, 1001 nights. That's where the genie title came in. So
they don't need wishes to do their mischief.
No, they can do whatever they want. Yeah. So anyway, how many stitches would you give this?
We'll give it like a 3. It's not the worst movie. It was okay.
It's a campy horror
movie. I'm sure like in the 90s I've probably been like, oh, this is scary and cool, but yeah, it's like meh.
Now that we've got technology to make everything cool.
Yeah. And I kept thinking that the main actress, they were trying to get her to look like, what is her name? Linda. What is her name?
From
Sarah
Terminator?
Connor. Yeah, Sarah Connor.
I agree. It's a knockoff of her.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like
Which makes sense because if it's in the 90s, duh, it makes sense. But,
that's funny. I give it like a 2.5, I guess.
You went below me.
Yeah, this movie is terrible. And I rewatched it. That's hilarious. I do this for you guys. I've watched this already.
She puts herself through the pain of watching another
terrible movies. Well, there you go.
I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, if you've seen it, you don't have to re-see it, and if you've never, don't watch it.
Yeah, this one you can skip this one, guys.
Yeah,
or if you
just want something fun, like laughing at a horror movie.
Yeah. It is pretty
There's a lot
funny to see the demon go through its like stages.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Life.
And when he does his he creates the wishes or he turns people into things, that's kind of funny because it's like you get people with like things coming out of them or
it's
the blood
very
and the gore.
Very 90s pre-CGI.
Yes.
So you can definitely get that campiness of
you get a lot
not
of costume
really
people.
being real and very costume. Yeah. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
There you go. Yeah, check that out for that fun.
Yay.
But that's it.
Makeup magic.
Yeah.
Well, this was an exciting episode. It was very educational for me because I definitely thought Djinns were...
Djinn. Sorry, I keep telling you. So
Djinn is plural. Yes.
It's like deer.
Djinn. Just Djinn.
Djinn.
No S.
No.
Djinn. So I learned a lot about Djinn and it's very... I don't know. This is very crazy. The Moffitts, I'm definitely going to read that book because that was insane.
It's insane.
I want to know more about it, but I'm also terrified to know more about it because I'm like, it's real.
It's creepy. And, you could take it with a grain of salt, but she did include a lot of photos.
Yeah. I saw them, people. Those photos are real.
Yeah.
And it's 80s. It's not faked photos.
You can't. Yeah. I wish she could have had a video camera on her, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane. So
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that's it. So until next time, we'll see you, Stitchers.
See you, Stitchers.